Hello, it's Brian Reeves from Paranormal Investigations. What I'd like to talk about today is actually setting up an investigation and the things you need to do when setting up an investigation, either outside or inside at a location. One of the first things you have to do, and it's very important, is get the landowner's permission. Now, many times this has happened where people have gone into old buildings, derelict buildings, and they haven't got the landowner's permission. This can land you in a lot of trouble, and it can land you into trouble with the police as well if you found trespassing on a property. So first of all, let's just go through it in order. First of all, you get the landowner's permission. Now, what we also suggest is in the daytime, you actually go and have a look at the site you are investigating. Now, whether that be inside or outside, it's worth doing a baseline investigation. Look around the site, look around for any hazards that you might have on the site. For instance, a lift shaft with no lift in it. If you fall 3 floors down a lift shaft, you are likely to kill yourself. So you need to know where these risks are. Have a look. Are the floorboards rotten in the house? Is there big holes outside that you might fall into? Is there tanks you might fall into? You need to look at this in the daylight and make sure in your head you know exactly where these places are and that you're able to brief the team of all the dangers that are there on site. Now also, if you go into an old house, the last thing you want to do is pulling out asbestos, for instance, out of a roof. So you need to make sure, is there asbestos in the property, because you don't want to disturb it while you're there. Now also, when you actually go on the investigation, really you should tell somebody where you're going. It's always handy so that if you don't turn back up in the morning, at least people know where you were on the investigation and they can send somebody out to look for you, because something might have happened. So that's important. And I think the other important thing is make sure, if you're going to an outside location near where there might be neighbours, it might be worth just telling the police you're there. Because if a neighbour at 3 o'clock in the morning sees bright torches or can hear people, they might think you're trespassing and the police are going to come out anyway. So it's far better to tell them, and then they might say, well, we know there's an investigation going on there, so we know all about it. So what do you need to take with you on the investigation? I think the first thing to do is make sure if you're going outside, you take the right clothing. It's actually pouring down here today. Now, what you wouldn't want to do is go in t-shirts and shorts out in this weather and get yourself soaking wet and freezing cold, because you can land yourself in as much trouble if you haven't got the right waterproofs by getting hypothermia. So what you need to do is make sure you're dressed for the occasion. Also, the other things to remember to take with you, you might want to take your mobile phone, because at least you can contact the outside world when you're on an investigation. Now, one of the problems you might have with a mobile phone is, of course, the signal. Depending where you are, you may not be able to get a signal on a mobile phone. So you might want to take a number of mobile phones with different networks so that you can get a signal. The other thing you need to take with you, silly as it might sound, at night is a torch, so you can actually see where all of the dangers are, or you can have a look around the site before you go and do it in the dark, to make sure you're aware of where the big holes are in the lift shafts. One of the important things you might want to take with you is a radio. These are commercial radios. These are Baofeng radios. These are really well worth, because these will transmit up to 1 kilometre. Now, if you split up into, say, teams of 2, you can take one of these radios with you, each of the team. You can actually contact each other while you're on the investigation. And if you're a distance away, you might want the ones with an extended aerial, because obviously this will transmit a bit further. But these will transmit about 1 kilometre. So you've got a good transmission zone, and they'll contact through walls as well, so you can actually contact each other. Also, while you're on the investigation, what you will do is you'll set yourself times where you will get back together again to do a briefing together to make sure everything's okay, to make sure nobody's disappeared. And the other important thing is, if somebody in the team decides to go, make sure they tell the rest of the team, so the team aren't looking for them, thinking they might have hurt themselves when they've actually gone home. And again, at the end of the investigation, make sure again you come back together, you close the investigation properly, and possibly you might want to tell the police the investigation's finished now, we're finished. So that if they do have somebody on the site later, they don't think it's your investigation team, it's not the burglar trying to take the lid off the roof. Thank you for listening today to my safety briefing. I hope you do take that in, because it can be very important and save your life and stop you turning yourselves into a spirit. It's Brian Reeves, Paranormal Investigations. Please look at our links below where you can buy the equipment, and please also make sure you subscribe to our video channel and please turn on your notifications. Thank you.